What's up, guys? Carolina Jackpot checking in early on Thursday morning. I want to knock out the rest of the picks and predictions for week number 7 of the college football season. Get picks 10 through 20 out of the way, and let's see what we can do. Oklahoma and Texas playing on the neutral field. That one's a 7.5 point advantage to Oklahoma. I am going to go with the Texas Longhorns here to cover the spread. Texas playing much better football since the first game of the season. They lost at home to Maryland, surprising fashion. Went on the road, played USC, almost won that game. They're playing a lot better. And this game is traditionally when Oklahoma has a really strong team. It seems like the Longhorns play them close. When Oklahoma has a 8-5, 9-4 mediocre type team, they blow Texas out. So it's really strange. Oklahoma this year, obviously, they have a strong team. They're a one-loss team. They got upset at home last week against Iowa State. I look for the Sooners to actually win this game, but I think it's going to be really close. I think it may be a 3-point game, maybe a 4-point game, like a 34-30 type deal, a 35-31 type game. I think they're going to win the game. I don't think they're necessarily going to cover the spread. I'm going to take Texas in that one. Georgia Tech at Miami. Miami is a 6.5 point favorite. I'm still going to take them to cover the spread here. I learned today that a couple of their starters are going to be out for that game. I don't think that that's going to make that big of a difference. I think Miami's actually on mission this year to win that ACC Coastal and bring home some hardware for the first time since they joined the ACC. Miami's pretty storied program. They've flapped their jaws a lot since they've been in the ACC, but the fact is they have never been to the ACC championship game, not since they've been there. This year, I think they're destined to do it. Mark Richt's going to take them there. I was impressed with the win last week on the road at Florida State. It could have easily been a disaster and been a real killer to that season, but they found a way to win it. And against Georgia Tech, I think they are going to pull this one out. It'll be a tight game, a little bit past halftime, but Georgia Tech, once again, too one-dimensional to compete with the Hurricanes. Miami's going to take this one at home, pick them to win, and take the 6.5. Auburn on the road at LSU. The 6.5 point favorites are the Auburn Tigers. We'll take LSU here to cover that spread. Auburn has been blowing some people out lately, looking really good and impressive. However, LSU last week, bounced back in nice fashion from a upsetting loss at home to Troy, and won on the road in the swamp in Gainesville, 17-16 over the Florida Gators. I'm going to look for LSU to cover the spread here. I don't necessarily think they're going to pull the upset either, but if you'll remember last year, a little bit earlier in the season, losing on the road at Auburn was the last game that Les Miles coached as the LSU head man. So I think I'm looking for a little retribution there for a bad performance last year, and it seemed like there was a little bit of a bad call there from some referees or something. I don't really remember what happened. It was a pass that a touchdown there, like a little 15-yard job right there at the very end that somebody said somebody was in bounds, and somebody said he wasn't, and the replay really couldn't confirm anything. I'm going to look for the Tigers of LSU to cover the spread at home here, and it would not surprise me at all if they win the game altogether. Navy on the road at Memphis in the Liberty Bowl. The Memphis Tigers are 4-point favorites. I'm going to take them to cover the spread here. They're a 4-1 team. They beat UCLA a few weeks ago. at the noon game on ABC. Navy's actually undefeated. They're 5-0. They haven't really played anybody that tough, and they have some really close wins. They had a close win against Air Force. And a few others that were a little too close for comfort. Tulsa. I'm going to take Memphis here to cover the spread in this game. I think they're going to win by about a touchdown. Just a little bit too strong for Navy. Only thing about Memphis, their one loss, they kind of got blown out by Memphis State, not Memphis State, we're talking about UCF, 40-13. The UCF Knights blew them out. But I'm still going to take them here to cover the spread against Navy and have the midshipmen and Ken Niamantulolo their first loss of the year in the Liberty Bowl. Texas A&M is on the road at Florida. Florida's 3-point favorites at home. It's an interesting matchup. These guys don't play each other that often. Florida, still hanging in there. They're not ranked any longer after losing last week to LSU. SEC East champions the past 2 years, kind of by default. I mean, because they were just really, they were the best of the worst. They were kind of the tallest midget, and and this year the SEC East has actually got at least one team in there that's really wanting to prove their mettle and really challenge Alabama and really give them a big stiff one. That's Georgia. But 3-point favorites at home against A&M. I don't look for that to take place. I'm going to take A&M to cover the spread here. A&M seems a lot better than people think they are. The record's 4-2 right now, I believe. Losses to Alabama last week. They kind of hung close in that game. They hung around for a while. They lost it 27-19. Of course, everybody knows about the Week 1 debacle against UCLA, where they were up 44-10 and ended up losing the game. Texas A&M is quietly becoming one of the better teams in the SEC. I don't think that Kevin Sumlin is necessarily on the hot seat. He's kind of moved from the burner to kind of the warming plate. You know what I'm saying? He's not the coach on the hot seat anymore. That belongs to Butch Jones right now and Brett Bielema. He is not directly on the hot seat anymore. He's on the warming plate. But I'm going to take them and the points at Florida. Take Texas A&M to win that game. I don't think that Florida's just not that good, especially with all those good players that are still, they're suspended, not playing against A&M. I don't think we're going to be able to handle them. That running game is going to be a little bit too much. We're going to wear them down third and fourth quarter, and A&M wins that game in the swamp by about a touchdown or so. Arkansas on the road at Alabama. Arkansas with a pretty bad loss last week on the road against my Gamecocks, 48-22. They took care of business with 3 defensive touchdowns leading the way. Won that game by 26 points. You think Alabama's 4 points better than South Carolina? I certainly do. So I'm going to take them to cover that 30-point spread against Arkansas. Arkansas is reeling. They're terrible. I don't see a way that they're going to be able to salvage that dude's job either. Arkansas is just, they're not going to stand for that. They've had some good teams. They've been competitive in the past. Under Houston Nutt back in the day, even earlier than that, they're not gonna take the 5-7s and 4-8 seasons and not making bowls and this and that for much longer. So I think poor old Brett's going to be looking for another job at the end of this season. And the Crimson Tide last week really didn't show a lot to anybody. Won a 8-point game against Texas A&M. And a lot of people questioning, should they be number 1 or should they not be? Should Clemson move into that number 1 spot? I think Alabama's going to show everybody this weekend why they are number 1 and why they deserve to stay in the number 1 position. They get it done against Arkansas at home, and I think they cover the spread. That's going to be nasty. Looking for like a 48-14 type game against Arkansas, if they even let them score that much. Here, interesting one here. Vandy at Ole Miss. Oxford. Ole Miss is a 3-point favorite. Played a couple of SEC games against Auburn and Alabama, I believe, and hadn't fared too well in either one of them. Ole Miss doesn't have a lot to play for this year. They have no bowl to play for. They've lost a lot of scholarships. They got an interim head coach. Vanderbilt, on the other hand, is a team that does have something to play for. They've still got some stuff they got to prove. If they can knock off Ole Miss and the other mediocre type teams that they play in the SEC, they can still make a bowl game. That would be halfway decent. They got blown out by Georgia, got blown out by Alabama. Those are easily the best two teams in the SEC, though. The past couple of weeks they got blown out by, so there ain't no shame in that, really. I think Vanderbilt's going to get it done against Ole Miss this weekend in Oxford. I look for Vandy to cover the spread, win this game straight up, and go back to Nashville with a little bit more confidence. Their quarterback, it's a good kid. I think that they're going to get that one done against the Rebels, who just don't have a heck of a lot left in the tank and just don't have a hell of no motivation. Mizzou at Georgia. 30.5-point underdog is what Missouri is. That's a line I don't really like. I mean, if anybody can say that Georgia hadn't looked dang good, they are wrong. But Georgia has looked really good this year. The 30.5-point spread, that's a lot of points. Missouri was tied at 34 going into the fourth quarter this past week on the road at Kentucky. They've still got a little bit of gas left in the tank. Everybody wants to say they're the worst team in the SEC, and I would probably have to buy that. Which is probably, they're either the 13th or 14th place team in the SEC right now. Ole Miss may be the 14th, but I think that Georgia, I see them winning this game. I see them winning it by about 28 points. Or maybe 21 points. A lot of these teams, Clemson has had games against Boston College and Wake Forest where they really didn't look all that great and win those games. Impressive. Bama last week against Texas A&M really didn't impress anybody. Won the game by 8 points, 27-19. At Penn State, they're ranked number 4. They, had a game a couple weeks ago against Iowa that they won at the last by a touchdown. Just touchdown pass there in the last few seconds. I don't think that Georgia is going to blow this team out of the water. I think this is going to be that game for them. This is going to be the one that stays close for a while, that they don't want to stay close, that they don't want to keep them around, but it's going to. Look for Georgia to cover the spread here, win by 3 to 4 touchdowns, but I look for Mizzou to keep it competitive, keep it close. They still got a little bit of juice left in them, and they're going to fight and not go down with swinging. Boise State on the road at San Diego State. Like San Diego State, playing good this year. 7-point favorites at home against Boise State. I look for them to cover that spread. Boise State's not very good at all. They lost at home to Virginia. They lost a game last week that was, one of the ones that should, have been able to take care of. So look for that one to take place. And Cincinnati at USF. 24.5-point favorites at home. Take the Bulls all night long. They have blown out everyone they've played this year almost. Cincinnati should be no exception. Cincinnati's a terrible team. They lost at home by Marshall. Couldn't cover the spread against them. They lost like 38-21. The only thing they've done all year was have a close game for a couple of quarters against Michigan on the road, who doesn't even look that good anymore. Take the Bulls and Quentin Flowers to blow out Cincinnati and make them wish they hadn't had to come to Raymond James Stadium. All right, guys, that is my picks and predictions for week number 7 of the college football season. You want to check back in next week on Monday or possibly Tuesday if I don't get it up in time, and you'll see how I did. If we can better last week's 13-7 record, that would really be nice. That would really be nice. It would be a great week. I appreciate y'all watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Please share the videos. And thanks for the growth on the channel. I'll see y'all later. Peace. And I'm out. Go Cox.